Let me just fix you up because I feel like I'm really zooming in my face. Anyway, so okay, I think that's fine now. So welcome back to my channel, guys. Today is Monday. It hasn't been a busy Monday. It was actually a chillax, not chillaxing, because I ended up going for a meeting, 2 hours meeting, and then went downtown and all of these things. Okay, as usual. But anyway, so I wanted to do a Q&A. That's the vibe that I'm feeling like today. I tried vlogging today. It just wasn't it, right? Like sometimes you wake up in the morning and you think you're gonna do ABCD. It doesn't work out that way. You have to have, you have to have the energy. Many people ask me so many questions on the regular. It's one recurring question that many people keeps on asking. Is it okay for the diaspora to send money back home? Because many people, if you guys are from the diaspora, then you know the purpose is usually because we want to help people back home and we feel like we have in a better financial situation, right? Some type of financial stability in order to help the people back home. But yeah, so I wanted to be able to give my opinion on that because I've gotten a really heartwarming message about one of my subscriber who told me that she wants to invest in her businesses, but she feels like the family is always pulling her to, help out. And she feels like if she doesn't help out, then she's not a good daughter, if you can say like that. So I wanted to go ahead and address it because I think last time she emailed me was probably like a month and a half ago. I think it was August time. And then I also had other people inquiring, like, how did you do it? Did you use to send money back home and stuff like that? So I'm going to answer those questions, guys. So a long time ago, when I moved to the US, 2007, I had jobs, not just one job. I was going to school full time, but I was braiding hair, guys. Oof, I used to be jack of all trades. I was braiding hair. I was working overnight as a night security supervisor on campus, and I was also doing summer camps. And then at some point, summer camps during the summer, and then at some point towards my junior and senior year, I started working in group homes, nursing homes, right? So I almost did it all when it comes, not all, but I did a lot of jobs because I needed to pay my bills. So I remember many times I would not, I think the only bill that I made sure I paid was my rent. But like electricity, utilities bills, phone bill, if my relatives, and I'm not even talking about my direct family, like mom, dad, siblings, I'm talking about extended family, cousin, aunties, uncles, like, nephews, nieces. So it was in such way that if somebody was in a situation back home that required them to have medical assistance, or maybe the child cannot go to school, even friendship, like even friends, it wasn't just family, it was also friends. Okay, sometimes I think about certain things and okay, I'm glad that I helped out, but it really didn't help me. Okay, and it didn't help that person, but let me go ahead and land. So I remember not paying some of my bills because I wanted to make sure that the person who was needing the money back home would have the money. And this is something that many of the people from the diaspora don't really talk about, right? Because we sit in the diaspora, wherever, whichever country that we are, and we give the idea to people that we are good. We have our financial situation in check, right? I used to send money back home and I didn't pay my bills. Like the only bill that I would pay was rent, and then I will have enough to eat. I'm not talking about every month. I'm talking about on occasions, right? Sometimes I will have bills that I didn't pay, like utilities bills that are coming. Man, you did not pay last month. You did not pay 2 months ago. But I was still sending money back home. I was still helping friends. I remember this girlfriend of mine, she's in France. I was even, because she was going through a hard time. So I was sending money to friends because she was going through Oh my God. It wasn't on cheap. So I did it when I was going to school because you guys know I was working 2, 3 jobs. So I did it when I was going to school. And then when I graduated, right, and I was looking for a job, I realized that the same people, whether they're friends or relatives, the same people kept on asking me for money. And I remember sitting one day, I was in Austin, sitting, couldn't land a job. And I just thought to myself, does any of these people worry about how I'm doing? Because nobody ever asks me how I'm doing, right? People are so eager to ask me for money, ask me for help. call me to tell me all the problems, right? But I remember sitting down and just thinking to myself, like, all of these people are calling me. Is there anybody who's actually, I mean, who is there for me? Does anybody care to know how I'm doing? And the answer was no. Because even on the phone, when somebody is calling you to tell you the long list of the issues and you tell them you're not feeling good, they're like, oh, yeah, but you're going to be okay. I think it was up to that point, 2011, that I was like, you know what, this is enough. Come on, this is enough. And I also realized that the fact that I was sending money back home was enabling people to be lazy because they knew that if things get hard, if things get tough, they can just make a phone call and the dollars will hit Cameroon. So I had to really realize, like, I just realized that I wasn't helping. Because the same people who asked me the money 4 years ago are still the same people asking me the money today. Still the same people having issues today. And I remember I had talked to my mom, and my mom told me something that I never forgot. She said, you want to be so generous that you forget about yourself. Ask yourself this question: if you were not sending them the money, would they still survive? And I remember pondering that statement in my head so many times. And I was like, duh, they will still survive. How were they surviving before I went to the US? How are they surviving if I'm like, I just realized that I was trying to kill myself, working all these jobs, helping other people, several people, putting people to school, whether they were friends, my age, making sure I send them money for school because they were in Cameroon. So when I was comparing, I'm like, okay, this person is going to this university. It's probably like 100,000 a year. It's not much. It's $200. So that's how my mindset was going. What I didn't really foresaw is the fact that these people will be ungrateful. It's the fact that when I started making money in my career, right? I wasn't a university student anymore. I was making money as a professional. They wanted me to help out more. They wanted me to give more. So if I used to send $100, for example, they wanted me to now send 200 because my paycheck was a professional auditor, right? I wasn't just a student anymore. I was a professional lady. So they expected me to send more. And one incident happened with one of my girlfriends where her mom wasn't feeling well, and she had already, I mean, her herself, my friend, she had told me about all the issues that she was going through, and then she told me in the same, line of thought, she told me her mom wasn't feeling well, and her mom had cancer, right? And and she had to go through chemo and all of these things. And I remember thinking to myself, my auntie had cancer, my mom at some point had breast cancer. So because it was so close to home, I could relate, right? I was like, you know what, girl, this is the money. I'm gonna send the money to your mom back home. So I sent the money back home, and I remember not even a thank you, not even a thank you. Why? Because she expected that I would send her the money also, the friend, right? It wasn't just the fact that I sent the money to her mom. It's the fact that I only sent the money to her mom and not her. Like I was trying to make sense of it all, and and that was the trigger. That was the point where I said enough is enough. We're not doing this no more because it's not helping people. It's just enabling them. They think you are the bank account. They think you are a tree. They can just get the money, catch the money when it falls. So that was basically the trigger for me, right? The trigger was that incident. It was as if I just had flashback of all the people that I've helped. It wasn't just people back home. It was people in Europe. It was people even in America. Some of my friends. And I've never asked nothing in return. Nothing, nothing in return. And it's really sad how you help people financially, emotionally, physically, and yet they still ask you for more without saying thank you in the first place. I think it's just this sense of, you know, people don't have an ounce. Many people don't have an ounce of gratitude. They feel like other people's success is their success. Your money is my money. That's how they feel. And and I used to be the girl who wanted to help everybody else. I used to think at least I have something, but they don't have, right? Or maybe they're going through a tough time. Those friends that were asking me to help them out, and I was doing it from the bottom of my heart, never asked nobody nothing. The only thing that I feel like I would have wanted was just somebody to say thank you, you know? And not just a thank you as in, oh my God, thank you for the money that you, no. It was more like I wanted to feel like they were grateful for that money. You know how you send people money back home or you go back home, right? And then you give somebody like maybe 20,000 francs. And then the person look at it like, okay, thank you. I mean, I don't know if some of you have had that feeling of you give somebody the money and they feel like it's too little. It's too little. Meanwhile, you were working your back off. You were working days and nights to make that money happen. Meanwhile, they were in Cameroon chilling, sleeping at the parents' house, not doing nothing. And you give them the money, they look at it like it's peanuts. Had the feelings, the worst feeling ever. So anyway, now check this out. I'm I'm done helping people back home. I've decided this is it for me. So I started doing my businesses. Now I wanted to hire people. So all the people who were like, please, can you help me out financially? I was like, this is perfect. Because what I've understood is that if I cannot help you by giving you money, then I can give you a job because you have to learn how to work. You have to learn how to earn that money yourself. So I started hiring some of the people that I knew did not have the financial, situation or health that they wanted. Do you know what happened? They did not. Some of them said, yes, I want to work for you, started for a week and quit. Some of them made up excuses and came back to me and asked me for money. Meanwhile, they're not working. So, this is going to be my advice. The best way to help people back home is to give them some type of financial security. By financial security, I mean if you can find them a job, right? Because they have to learn how to earn that money. Because if somebody doesn't know how to earn that money, they will always think it's easy for other people. It's easy for you because you live in America. It's easy for you because you live in Switzerland. It's easy for you because you're in France. That's how some of them think, right? Like they just think it's easy. They don't know how we work in days and nights. They don't know how when it's cold and winter you walking because you can't even afford buying a car. Been there, right? They don't know how hard it is that at the end of the month you're trying to count every single dollar to make sure you're paying your bills, but at the same time you have family calling back home and you have to make that sacrifice to help them first because you know you're always going to be working to get your bills paid. They don't know that, right? And I think us, the diaspora, we also do a disservice to the people back home. We do a disservice because when we show up in Cameroon or we show up in Africa, we want to live we want to live that life, the celebrity life, the slay queen life. The guy who only wears Gucci, the guy who is popping champagnes and all of these things. That's the life we want to showcase. And then we go back and do the little bitty jobs and then we don't sleep. They don't see that life. I think we do a bad job portraying that we are kings and queens in America, in Europe. We do a bad job. I think if many people from the diaspora were real about the experiences, about the realities, I think it will make a huge difference. So if you can find people jobs, if you can, hire them for something, maybe you need people to work because you're building a house, give them that type of responsibility. And I know what many of you are going to say, I've hired family members and they stole my money. That's going to be a different conversation for another day because I too hired people, family members, and they stole my money. So anyway, that's the reason why the title is there, right? I'm just not going to send, when I was in the US permanently, I was not sending money back home anymore. And that's the reason why. Anyway, guys, so that will be the end of this conversation. Let me know what your experience has been like. If you are from the diaspora and then you still sending money back home, whether you are or not sending money back home, let me know how has it been and why you decided to keep on sending money or not sending money. On that note, I'm going to leave you guys there. Don't forget to like and subscribe as usual, and I'll catch you next time.